Hey there, it's Carolyn again. I hope I'm finding you at a good time and that you're doing well. I'm been thinking about this opportunity to be on a platform to uh, start up chatting it up, and I wanted to share some ideas that I had with you um, in mind. And that first of all, I kind of mentioned it before that I spent probably last 10, 15 years taking care of both my parents. Um, but my dad, he didn't have any cognitive issues. He um, had complications from kidney failure, and that kind of triggered a bunch of other things in addition to complications with pneumonia and things that happen when you're older called, which I didn't even know about, um, aspirations, where they swallow wrong. It's a huge, huge deal with the elderly. The thing that really is bothersome is it's hard enough to get old folks to drink any type of liquid because dehydration plays a big part into that. And then that triggers UTIs. That's another thing. If you have a urinary tract infection when you're older, it can make a person seem like they're crazy or that they're literally entering into dementia. It's that sensitive and that complicated. And I think a lot of times people within my age group are caught in a situation that they never expected themselves to be in. And it's kind of like you have to be um, your own detective. I know it sounds crazy, but my mom ended up having mild cognitive impairment. It was deemed dementia, but for the most part, mom stayed pretty steady. She passed away actually 2 months exactly today. And I kind of thought, you know what? I'm going to put out a little blurb, a little video, and just do this in memory of her, not of the heartaches that she went through, but you know what? Whatever goodness I had learned out of this experience, I'd like to pass it along to other people because I do happen to know that the caregiving world is extremely large when it comes to dementia or any type of healthcare. I'm on the ladder, and I'm actually at the very last end of the boomer stage. And we're all taking care of somebody at one point or another. The family dynamics is a whole different thing um, within the marriage, within the siblings, within just a family itself, the doctor patient relationship. I'm part of a fantastic caregiver group called Dementia Careblazers. They can be found on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and it's headed up by Dr. Natalie Edmonds out of Phoenix, Arizona. I couldn't have lasted the last 2.5 years without them. The support groups are amazing. Again, it's Dementia Careblazers, and lovingly, we're all called Careblazers, and it's literally worldwide. We have members from Canada, Jerusalem, uh, Nova Scotia, throughout the United States, and a smattering here and there in California, a lot from Texas, a lot in the East Coast, and we all meet together once a week. And even though my mom has passed on, I stay with the group because we all have nuggets of information which are beneficial to everybody. And that's what I hope to do with Chatting It Up and this particular platform is I want it to be a place where people can ask questions. Maybe I have an answer, have a special guest in here that can also address situations that don't have to be dementia related. However, it's basically caregiving. It is a huge, huge ordeal, and people don't understand what it's like unless they're actually in it. Um, and that's no fault on their part, but the frustrations that people go through that step into that role, the heartaches, it's unfathomable. And literally, people that I've come in contact with are literally perplexed as to how they are able to function or keep their sanity as they go through the process of caring for their loved one, coming down to making a decision. Do I put them in a care facility? How much is that care facility? Do I keep them at home? What opportunities are there within the states that you live, that you have? What other resources are there? My resource was hospice nurse Julie. She's out of Santa Monica. And she's the one that advised me. She wrote a fantastic book that came out a few months ago called Nothing to Fear. And it's about death and dying. But she puts a real practical way in how to deal with things, how to deal with patients that have dementia and dying. It's not just about dying, it's about living. People don't affiliate the process of dying and aging as part of living. And that's the whole thing. She embraces it all and introduces it to everybody because a lot of people don't want to talk about that. And it's so important that people understand what's ahead. You don't want to be caught with your proverbial pants down. You want to actually have to plan it out and know what's ahead because it can be daunting. And if you don't do it right, you could be caught in a situation financially that you don't want to be into. But with all that being said, that's my prerogative of trying to do this platform to inform people that are entering into the caregiving stage. Not primarily that, but just there's a whole psychology behind it too. A lot of people don't understand the emotional risks that are for yourself, for your loved one, for your family. There's so many people I know that have up and left their home and their family, moved across the United States to take care of their elderly parents, and had to figure out, do I move there permanently? Do I move back? Do I move them back to where my family is so I can be back with my family and my spouse? There's so many things that are covered in there. And I hope to help address that and maybe be a resource where we can all kind of collaborate, maybe even take some questions during these moments that we get together. I still have to decide, am I going to do this once a week, twice a week, certain days? For how long am I going to do this? But my point is, there's resources, there's people with experience, and I'm going to have them either call in or be an in-studio guest. People need help. That is the bottom line that I found out. And, and I want to keep it lighthearted too. As you could tell, I am a musician and I am in the studio, but I also like to communicate. I like to talk to people. I'm not the only one that's ever gone through this. And let me tell you something. Before I found Dementia Careblazers, I was pulling my hair out. My hair was dark. At one time it was dark. And I'm not just saying that because it's a hereditary thing, or it's part of my genes, which it is. But I'm just saying, I realized that there's things that are important and there's things that are not important. And coloring my hair was not one of them. But look, bottom line is, before I found Dementia Careblazers, I was like, where is there a support group that I can go and I can ask the silly beginning questions? Am I the only one that feels this way? Why do I feel this way? What am I going through? Who do I talk to? Has anybody gone through this before? Do they know how to handle this? Has anybody experienced that? And the minute I joined this group, I couldn't believe it. I realized I was not alone. And I realized there's so many people that are going through so much of the same things that I was going through. And that in itself was healing, because not everybody in my family understood it. But these people that were going through the same journey, I don't call it an adventure because adventures are fun. It's kind of like a vacation. They're fun. You're going on an adventure. But this journey, this journey of caring for the elderly, for your loved ones, in my case, my parents, was so daunting. And what it did to me as a person, I would never begin to understand how I got to where I got, or begin to understand what I was going to be going through. Because the sad thing about it is the end of this journey all ends the same. And there's a grieving process that you go through when you start this journey, because not only are you going through that, but so is the loved one, because they're realizing that slowly things are slipping through their fingers. They can no longer do this. That's grieving. They can no longer do that. That's grieving. They take away their driver's license. That's grieving. And you, as a person that's there to take care of them and help them on this journey, are grieving too, because you're experiencing the loss of who they are and where they're going. And the reason why I bring up hospice nurse Julie, her real name is Julie McFadden, is because the anticipatory grief that you have is not like any emotion you've ever had to deal with. Let's face it. You don't go through this journey every day. Woe to you if you do. I wouldn't want to go through this every day. In my case, I lost my dad at the end of 2020. And 2 months later, because of the news of my dad's passing, my mom went into a decline immediately. And that triggered off a form of dementia. She wasn't terrible like some people with aphasia or Lewy body dementia, or, there's so many different. This umbrella is dementia. Alzheimer's, Lewy body, aphasia. There's so many different types of dementia, but the most popular is Alzheimer's, but they're all under the same umbrella. For my mom to get to that point where I realized that she needed help, I was still trying to figure out, like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you doing this? And it was frustrating for me. I will admit it. I lost because I couldn't wrap my head around it. But that's what I mean, being a detective. There's a new way of thinking. There's a new way of being. And a lot of people don't understand that unless they're actually in it. And you will feel like you're going crazy at one point because nothing makes sense. It's not normal. Even they don't have to have dementia. My dad didn't have dementia, but it's the loss of watching someone who was able to all of a sudden not be able. That is heartbreaking. And you're anticipating the worst because the end of the road is the same regardless of what it is. Whether there's a physical illness, a cognitive illness, it doesn't matter. The end is still the end. So, with that being said, there's a wide spectrum of things that we could talk about. But today, this is where I'm at. And this is what I intend to talk to, because I know that there's so many people that are put in the position of where I was put in, that find themselves suddenly, because nobody signs up to be a caregiver. Nobody says, oh, I want to do that. Nobody does that. And you have a choice. The question is, are your choices within your financial spectrum? Are your choices what you want to do? Because you can feel trapped and you can feel isolated. And it is heartbreaking for everybody. And I know I'm within that age group. So I want to be able to share what I know to spare somebody some heartache. That's the reason for this platform. And I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to share what I know and with whom I know. I want to share it with you because I know there's somebody out there that's saying, oh my gosh, you do get it. I've been here and I didn't know where to turn. You got it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I wish somebody was there for me. And that's probably why I'm excited to do this. So once I find out how often I'm going to show up and how my duration, or even if there is a special guest, you bet we will go ahead and do this. And I'll keep posting things on Chatting It Up and keep checking in. In the meantime, I'm going to be just like every other content creator. Like, share, and subscribe to Chatting It Up. And if you push that one little button with the bell, it'll give you a notification when something new comes up. Or if there's an announcement, I'll put out an announcement that we're going to have a special guest. And that way you'll have that. But again, like, share, and subscribe. And that'll help out so that we can be in contact with each other. In the meantime, God bless you. And always remember, be blessed, but also be good to yourself. In the meantime, take care. Well, that's my dog. Bless you.